Hello and welcome. This is a channel where we talk about writing, learning, and creating, and we have another writing video for you today. So let's hop into it. Today we're going to be talking about something super important to your writing life: waffles. Now hear me out. I know it sounds like we're going way out there, but we're not going all that far. Think about it this way. Imagine a story with me in your brain. You are on vacation. You are staying overnight at a hotel, and when you wake up, you are so looking forward to a continental breakfast. You go downstairs to where they have their little dining area. You go over to get your favorite on the road breakfast food, the waffle. However, this place is a little bit unique. There is not just one waffle iron, there is two. Why is there two waffle irons? You inspect them and you find out that one makes the fluffy Belgian waffle and the other makes a thin waffle. Now you have to make a choice. Which one do you prefer? The fluffy Belgian waffle or the thin waffle? A lot of people would turn the thin waffle down because they think that there's no value in it. You want all that fluffy waffle goodness. But don't throw it out just yet. The thin waffle has some value. It can allow you to up your syrup to waffle ratio without having too much syrup. Come on. Now, obviously, this video is not just about waffles, although I may want to make some after this. But it is about a type of character. In literature, there are two major types of characters, and then you kind of break it down after that. I meant two, not four. You know. But anyway, so there are these two main types of characters other than the breakdowns, and that is the flat character and the round character. And just like how you had to hypothetically choose between what type of waffle you want, theoretically, you have to choose between the type of character you want. Or do you? In this video, we're going to be talking about different types of flat characters and the value or lack of value maybe they apply to their stories. Okay, let's do a real quick definition of what I mean when I'm talking about with flat characters. So this type of character is one that is lacking in dimension. Usually people call it two-dimensional or even shallow as a way to try to describe what this character looks like without giving specific examples. A good analogy to use, in my opinion, and maybe it's just because I have too much food on the brain today, but imagine having a picture of a piece of cake versus an actual piece of cake. The picture could look beautiful, fantastic, delicious, like one of those really complicated things that you might see on a Cake Boss type show. But there is no substance to it. You can't sink your teeth into it. The only thing that you're going to get from that picture is a hankering for an actual piece of cake and maybe some fiber if you're real desperate and decide to gnaw it in anyway. However, an actual piece of cake has the dimension. It has all the ingredients that went into making that cake. It has that fluffy texture that may be dry or moist depending on who has made it. It has that wonderful icing and any decorations that might be there. It may not look as fancy as what you could have in the picture of the piece of cake, but it has the insides, the meat that you really need when you're looking for a piece of cake. Same thing with flat versus round characters. A flat character is going to have some of the traits of a round character, and you're going to have some little bits of information about them, but it's not going to be anywhere near as full as what it would be if you had a round character. So now we are ready to get into those examples.
Our first examples of flat characters are Crabbe and Goyle from Harry Potter. They're Draco's friends, but we don't really learn much about them or their backgrounds. They're pretty much just there to be sidekicks. They help him to accomplish certain tasks and they hang out in the background, but we don't really get to know who they are, what their motivations are, what their reasons are. We just get a sense of them being followers. But they do serve an important role because even Draco needs to have friends and they help him to accomplish tasks that he couldn't have done by himself. Let's talk about C3PO and R2D2. Everyone loves this duo, but are they pancake flat? Yup. Until the release of the prequels, we know nothing about their backgrounds. Even once we get that info, it tells us more about the characters around them than about them individually. They also don't gain any new skills or learn any new lessons. Things tend to happen around them or to them rather than them actually making those choices themselves. That doesn't mean that they're bad characters necessarily, or does it? Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid is another example of a flat character. Flat characters are a popular choice in several different forms of video games. The producer of Metal Gear Solid, Hideo Kojima, even said at one point that they purposefully made Solid Snake a flat character so that the player could be the hero. They didn't want who he would be as a character to get in the way of the gameplay. They wanted the player to be able to fully immerse themselves, and they were worried that him being more of a round character would keep that from happening. So as a result, there's not a lot of depth or background to who he is as an individual separate from the player.
All right, here we are. Decision time. Are flat characters worth it? Well, when it comes down to it, what makes a flat character a good character or a bad character for you to have in your novel, or your story, or screenplay, or video game, whatever it is, what it comes down to is the function that the character is playing. You can find a lot of information out there about flat characters and round characters, dynamic characters and static characters. They're pretty standard forms for people to talk about. What people don't talk about quite as much, although you can still find information on it, it is out there, is the function of the character. And that is what makes the character either useful and therefore necessary in your story, or not useful and therefore not necessary in your story. To summarize what function means in a sentence, or maybe two, we'll see how it goes. A function of a character is the means by which they move the plot forward. So, in other words, your plot has a starting point, A, and an end point, B. Anything that gets you closer from A to B is fulfilling function. If it is not moving from plot point A to point B, then it is not fulfilling a function. And that's what makes a flat character a good character or not. All of the examples that I've gone over in this video are flat characters, and they all serve some level of function in the story. In some way, they are helping to move that story forward. For instance, with Crabbe and Goyle, they help Draco to do things that he couldn't have done by himself. Therefore, they're helping to move the plot forward. C3PO and R2D2, they help to create the entire Star Wars story by using the escape pod to get down to Tatooine where we meet Luke. And then they continue to do other useful things, as I kind of talked about already. Once again, helping to move the plot forward. And then we're looking at Solid Snake as a video game character. It is following his journey and the choices that you make through his character that moves the plot forward. Not all video games have a very strong plot point, but even in the weaker plot video games, there is some level of it, and usually having the characters there is what helps to move that plot forward. It tends to be a either action-driven or character-driven medium, and that's just how it rolls. So, if your character is fulfilling some level of function and they're flat, don't sweat it. It's okay. They are fulfilling a function, therefore keep them in their story. If they are not fulfilling any function whatsoever, then you might want to consider either getting rid of them completely or changing them so that they actually fulfill some sort of function. So, if you found this information useful, leave a like on this video. If you have other examples of flat characters that are fulfilling a good function in a story, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm sure everyone would love to hear more examples that are from a variety of genres and a variety of places about what a flat character looks like that is fulfilling a function. As always, I will be posting videos Tuesday and Thursday, so look forward to more, and please join in our community by hitting that subscribe button and maybe even tickling that bell a little bit. Until next time, see you later!